There is a moment many people reach later in life. That arrives quietly. It doesn't come with an argument. It doesn't arrive during a family fight or a loud disagreement. It comes in small conversations. In passing comments. In the way a room shifts when you speak. You share a thought, something shaped by years of experience. And you notice it lands, lightly. Not wrong. Not offensive. Just, unnecessary. Someone smiles politely. Someone changes the subject. Someone says, things are different now. And just like that, a part of you grows quiet. Many older Americans know this feeling well. The sense that the values you lived by, the ones that carried you through work, family, responsibility, are now treated as outdated. Not debated. Not examined. Just set aside. And what makes it harder is that no one is being cruel. There is no shouting. No disrespect meant. Which somehow makes the dismissal hurt more. Most people who grew up in your generation were taught that values were not optional. You didn't debate responsibility. You didn't negotiate commitment. You showed up. You endured. You adapted quietly. Work wasn't always fulfilling. But it was honorable. Family wasn't always easy. But it was permanent. Silence wasn't weakness. It was restraint. And those values built lives. They built homes. They built communities. They built stability. So when younger generations question them, it doesn't feel like a philosophical disagreement. It feels personal. Because to reject the value can feel like rejecting the life built around it. Many older adults don't argue back. They choose peace. They tell themselves. They see the world differently. It's not worth the conflict. Let them live their way. So they stay quiet. They nod. They listen. They soften their opinions. And over time, something shifts inside. Silence becomes a habit. Not because there's nothing to say, but because saying it feels unwelcome. The loss of authority doesn't happen all at once. It happens when advice is no longer asked for. When decisions are made without consultation. When phrases like, "That's old thinking," appear. You begin to wonder if wisdom has an expiration date. And here's the uncomfortable part. Few people say out loud. Adapting feels necessary. But erasing yourself feels wrong. There is a difference between learning something new and pretending everything you learned before was useless. Some older adults quietly ask themselves, if I adapt fully, what part of me remains? Younger generations often see adaptation as progress. Older generations often experience it as loss. Both perspectives can exist at the same time. What's rarely acknowledged is how much emotional labor it takes to stay silent for harmony. To hold back opinions. To soften beliefs. To choose connection over expression. This restraint is not weakness. It is love. But love, when unspoken too long, can turn into invisibility. Many seniors don't want to be right. They just want to be heard. They don't want control. They want relevance. They don't need authority restored. They need respect sustained. And respect does not require agreement. It requires listening without dismissal. Generational conflict is often framed as stubbornness versus progress. But that's too simple. Older values were formed in a world of scarcity, long-term consequences, and limited second chances. Newer values were formed in a world of flexibility, rapid change, and constant reinvention. Neither is wrong. But pretending one erased the other creates unnecessary pain. For many seniors, the deepest conflict is internal. Do I adapt quietly? Or do I risk becoming difficult? Do I speak honestly? Or do I protect peace? Do I change enough to belong? Or do I honor who I've been? These are not abstract questions. They shape daily interactions. Family dinners, phone calls, holiday conversations. And there is no universal answer. Some people find peace in adaptation. Others feel they slowly disappear. Perhaps the question is not whether older values still apply, but whether there is room for them to exist alongside new ones. Wisdom does not expire, but it does require space. And maybe the most honest question left to ask, for both generations, is this: when adapting to a changing world, how do we evolve without erasing ourselves?